So to try our first problem here, what we see is the same thing we've been seeing, especially in the last set of stuff that we did. We've got a couple pieces of information that's told to us. We've got a diagram. It's very similar to probably something we've seen before, if not exactly the same. And then what we have right here in this box that I'll erase in a second is, again, what I call an outline. All right, so it's an outline. It's got some statements in it. It's not a proof. It's just kind of indicating what's happening. So the last thing we did was we put marks on the diagram based on what the information told us. So now we're going to couple putting the marks on the diagram put together that with filling in some statements that are already half written for us. All right, and then in the next section, you'll write everything yourself, and that will lead us into getting ready to actually write a proof. So let's take a look here and see what we can do. So I'm going to go through, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what the statement says. I'm going to look up here also. So Q is the midpoint of JG. That should give me 2 equal parts. All right, and then let's kind of do some highlighting here. Whoops, that's not highlighter. JG. So I should have 2 equal parts of that, which should be JQ and GQ. And guess what? There it is right there. So JQ is congruent to GQ because, so I'm just going to fill this in. Midpoint creates 2 equal parts. All right, so midpoint creates 2 equal parts. Then I have this bisector, which is going to make 2 equal parts also. In order with bisector, we have to, is it an angle? Is it a segment? It's a segment, so I should get segments. And again, that's important, most important when it's an angle. I think that's when we have the most problem with. Let's find KF. KF is right here. All right, so where's the 2 equal parts? In blue. It's there and there. All right, then you look at the second statement, and they don't have to necessarily be in order, but you look at the second statement, and it says because a bisector creates 2 equal parts, that's the statement that has to do with the bisector. So I should put the pieces in the beginning here, and it would be KF is congruent to, it's not KF, sorry, let's fix that. It's KQ is congruent to FQ. All right, so I've got that. So that's the information that I have from the statements. And then the next thing was to look for vertical angles or reflexive property. And hopefully what you're seeing is right here in the middle, I have an X, which means I have vertical angles there and there. All right, and then it says JKQ. JKQ is this angle. JQK is this angle right here. I'll put a little star in it. Oh, and I'm erasing things, of course, because why not? Put a little star in it. There we go. There's a star. And then GQF. GQF is right there. So those are my vertical angles. So because vertical angles are congruent. All right. And then that leaves me with this last piece that says because SAS. This means that I'm looking for congruent triangles. The last step in every problem in this section and in the next section, we'll talk about congruent triangles. So over here to the side, I'm going to put KQJ, and I'm going to match things up. So KQ is the side with the green side. So that's going to be FQ. So FQ. And then JQ matches up with GQ. So JQ matches up with GQ. So there's my 2 triangles. So on this line, it's going to be triangle KQJ congruent to triangle FQG. Okay, so that match the letters up so that it makes sense.